What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Two in the Teal podcast. I'm Ethan.
I'm Marcus. Thanks for riding with us. We're going to be here with you all season long. A lot of tears, a lot of happy times. Give us a like and subscribe.
Let's freaking go.
All right.
Yo.
Yo. Welcome in, everybody. We've got a Cowboy special here today. Joining us is my former colleague, Chase Haltner. He's the most in touch with reality Cowboys fan I think I know outside of myself. Always has sober analysis, always knows what he's talking about. So we thought we got to throw him on. Great timing with the Micah trade and great timing with Thursday night coming up against the Eagles. So little Cowboys special. Chase, welcome.
Hey, welcome
Appreciate
in,
it,
bro.
y'all. Happy to be here. Happy to talk to boys. I know it's been a dramatic offseason for us, but
Sure has.
definitely excited for this season, even if it might be a heartbreaking one yet again.
It's going to be an interesting one at bare minimum. You went to UT, so let's start with Texas really quick. Obviously, lose to Ohio State. Close game on the scorecards, but if you were watching, I thought I have 2 points on the game. One, that
That's
push on the 1 yard line in the third quarter. If that had just gone in, because those QB sneaks and stuff, it feels like they're like 50-50 shot. Like Marcus, you'd agree, like a QB sneak, you got about 50-50 shot that happens.
Yeah,
that
are they tush pushing in college now? Like
Yeah.
like the Eagles formation tush
Arch
push?
kind of stood straight up, it almost looked like.
We did it. I think we did it wrong.
He did it wrong. But if he had executed, and because again, 50-50, his confidence would have been better for the next quarter and a half. And you're on the 1 yard line, even if they had gotten 3 points out of it, I don't know. It felt like that on the 1 yard line was just luck of the draw type thing. And then number two, the comparisons. The media loves to do this to these kids. I had somebody, I think it was Joel Klatt, who's usually pretty good, saying he looked like Trevor Lawrence at practice. Trevor Lawrence beat Alabama in a national championship to start off his college career. He then loses to only the best college football team to ever exist in the LSU team. And then he lost next year in the playoffs again against a really good Ohio State team. If Arch had that 3 years, like starting right now, they'd be talking about him like he's the greatest thing that's ever happened. And that's just so unfair to go. He looks like Trevor Lawrence out there. You got to pause and go, Trevor Lawrence, Tim Tebow, Jalen Hurts. You please don't compare guys to these guys. It's so unfair to them.
Yeah, and I'll hop in basically to, as a Texas fan, I was a actual person last year that was really saying we need to give Arch time. A lot of people would argue with me over Quinn versus Arch, and last year I was like, hey, let's stick with Quinn. Let's have Arch give some time to develop, but also find opportunities to get him to play. Quinn was playing hurt, and so we had some great games, specifically Mississippi State. And people will joke about, Arch versus UTSA versus Arch against a real team. And, it is what it is. But that first game, I mean, to go in on the road in Columbus against the reigning national champion as your first game, that was his first pass he's thrown outside of Austin. And so he had a pretty tough thing coming. And, you're the Heisman favorite with about 4 total games played. Going into a season, it's about as high of expectations. Throw on the name on the back of the jersey, and I just was hoping that he'd have the poise from the start, but I just knew how hard it would be. And that very first pass, we schemed up a pretty good rollout for him, and he bounced that ball 10 yards in front of Wingo. I mean, it was from that point, I'm like, okay, we might be in trouble if we can't run the ball. So that was tough. It was nice to see, 56 minutes of no scoring. And then to put, a good play or good drive together and then have a second drive that almost resulted in points. It was closer than I think. I think our defense looked excellent.
The defense, that's the thing, is that the defense was Ohio State scored 14 points.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
You can win that game.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think we did a really good job again on Jeremiah Smith. I mean, Carnell Tate bobbled the touchdown and brought it in, and their other touchdown was a 4th and goal after we stuffed them 3 times.
Nice.
You're going to live with those type of losses and just trust that we'll figure it out offensively. But I think it was a good, I'm going to say it now, I think it's a good, reminder that we need to temper our expectations. Let's get our composure back. We have a few games to, get our offense in rhythm and flow before we head to, Gainesville to start off October.
Good
And
one.
I think
Yeah.
that will be the real big test, is to see if we can take on Lagway, because Florida looks like a lot better of a team here in the last end of last year and to start off this year than they did at the beginning. And so that's my next landmark of what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
And Chase, it's like I almost wonder if it's better for him to play from behind, right? Right, like as opposed to this big name kid who's like supposed to be the next big thing, comes out and plays a lights out game, like throws a career type game and
Mhm.
beats one of the baddest teams around, and then
Yeah.
next thing you know, you just have that ride off kind of season where he puts up just average numbers. Now he's got something to prove, right? So, and then there's going to be all that talk. There's going to be all that talk on social media and all that bullshit, and then it'll just kind of, it'll fade out. It's the hot topic right now, but it'll fade out, and then he just gets to play ball. So maybe it was the best. Maybe it was honestly the best thing to happen.
Yeah, I think the humbling can be good for certain people and certain teams. And the mentality I've seen from Arch, I think he's the type of person that it will benefit in the long run. I just think, in over his head a little bit, had a lot of expectations, probably plenty of nerves going into that game. And, you know, you miss a couple throws that you can normally make, and then it just kind of spirals you. And you could see, I mean, once he got into rhythm, he was on fire to end that fourth quarter until he shorted that throw to Wingo on third down. And I
Yep.
mean, even on the last play, we had some O-line miscommunication. He was immediately under pressure. He's getting hit on the fourth down as he throws, and he still gets it off and like gives our tight end a chance. There's definitely some moments he can run the ball. You can see some of the deep throws that he was highly touted for, and we'd like to see last year's. I'm optimistic. I'm not gonna write it off yet, but it was definitely a little downer on the Saturday to kick off the season with some high expectations and a little bit of a letdown.
So did you think, like, were his receivers dropping balls? Because there were a couple that I thought, oh, come on. I mean, what are you, a
Yeah.
4-star? Like, you're probably going to end up in the NFL. Like, you got to catch those at the end of the day. They're a little behind them, but it's the kind of stuff like, CeeDee Lamb catches that ball.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we had a couple drops. I think he also had a few just poor ball placement. I don't think he read their defense super well at times. There was, obviously the interception, and then there's a couple that he threw into double coverage that just weren't necessary.
Yeah.
He also was sidearming a lot, and that was something that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And some people are saying, maybe he has a shoulder thing. I don't really know. I don't remember mechanically him throwing like that last year a whole lot.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that they'll probably look at, and we'll see if he cleans it up here in the next few weeks. But yeah, that was definitely interesting I mean, it was just like trying to whip it out real
it's
quick.
It's like if somebody was making fun of a quarterback throwing a ball, is how he was throwing it. Like, it was like he was doing a spiff on it. It was kind of, why are you throwing it like that? There's no way he's been taught that.
I mean, do they report on these kids like off season the same way they do in the NFL? I know literally nothing about college football. So are they like open practice where they have reporters and whatnot going to practices? What did they say about him in the offseason?
That he looks like Trevor Lawrence throwing the football.
That's what they said about him in the offseason?
One guy said that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's been good, and there's been some good, there's been some bad. The one that I saw, and I was hoping that this wasn't going to be completely true, but we had a scrimmage with our defense, and they basically said our offense put together one scoring drive and otherwise was dominated by our defense. Which, after watching the Ohio State game, that looked pretty much exactly that. I think our defense is still incredible. I think Coach Pete is about as good as you get of a DC in college. And I mean, you saw it. You held Ohio State to 203 yards.
Exactly.
I mean, we played excellent against them. Jeremiah Smith, I think, has scored a touchdown on basically every team he's faced except for us.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where, all right, the defense is there. I think it's really, yes, on Arch, and I know he took ownership of it. I think a lot of it also goes on Sark. I think we get a little cute against the top teams, or too conservative at times, where, we'll be just not, being creative when we need to be, and then we're way too aggressive when it's just like, hey, let's either punt it away or take the points. I think we went 1 of 5 on fourth down. You're not going to win many games where you're stuffed 4 times on fourth down. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marcus Arch is really mirroring.
What's up, Ethan?
I know we're doing
Yeah.
Cowboys today, but Arch is really mirroring Trevor Lawrence right now. He's just hyped up, and now everyone
Shit.
thinks he sucks. And it's like, so how do you respond? I don't know hopefully Arch is built better than Trevor. No,
Dude, man, don't even
we've
get me
been low on.
started
I've
right
been
now.
low on Trevor recently.
Yeah.
Chase. I've really got to see it. I'm about sick of it.
Dude, it's and that's what it boils down to. It's the beginning, so
Yeah.
it's hard to tell. Like, you definitely give Arch Manning like this one season to really show, like,
Yeah.
am I as good as people think I'm going to be, or am I just a washed up kid with a name? And then, it's just kind of from that point, go be a coach somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
And for his sake, I hope he does not declare for the draft. He needs reps. I mean, he needs game reps. So,
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
we'll be looking for it. All right, let's get to the Cowboys. Micah Parsons was traded for 2 first-round picks. And
Who's that?
Defensive tackle Kenny Clark. Now, Micah would have looked really good in some teal and black and gold. But
Yeah, he sure
that's
would have.
okay.
That would have been so sick.
I have no idea how this deal just wasn't getting done. If I had to guess, Jerry wanted something long term. I'm watching The Gambler and his Cowboys right now. Jerry is all about who wants to be a Cowboy. I almost feel like that's in his negotiations. It's like, this may not be the exact contract you wanted, but you get to be a Dallas Cowboy. I almost feel like that's a negotiation point.
Yeah.
And then I thought it kind of works for both teams in theory. The Packers probably were a pass rusher away from being in that serious contention, and the Cowboys were 2 or 3 things in addition to a pass rusher away from being in the serious conversation. Thought it kind of works for both teams. Chase, it was wild.
It's tough because I think Jerry does like we like our guys type thing going on, and I respect it. I obviously know the brand is more important to him than anything, but also, you want people to be Cowboys for life, or for you guys, Jags for life. And I think when I look at Micah, you could see some semblance of, okay, maybe
Hell
he's
yeah,
not
this
a Cowboy
guy's-
for life.
Chase has got
I
it
think
down,
he
dude. He's really good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just like what you're saying.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, you're good. I mean, he's a Philly guy, and I think you can see it when you go to a 76ers game. I think it's hard for him to make that shift. He loved the whole, let's go from the Penn State blue and white to the Cowboys blue and white, and I think he liked that. But ultimately, if you're going to have someone that doesn't want to completely buy in, it detracts from your locker room, it detracts from your team. And I think people are kind of underappreciating the strength of our defensive line, specifically our defensive ends.
Oh yeah, dude, this is great.
Yeah, let's take some hits of copium real quick. Yeah.
I think Ezraku is a pretty great
He was a projected
pick that we got in
first-round
the
pick,
second round.
and he fell to that.
He's a defensive player of the year for the ACC, won the best defensive end last year. I think he had 17 sacks. I mean, that's pretty incredible numbers from a college kid.
Jaguar great, Dante Fowler Jr.
Yeah, we went back and got Fowler again. There's been good stuff with Nealon and Sam. So you have guys out there that, I think that we can, we have the guys to compete. I think Overshown, when he gets healthy, will be the new focal point of our defense.
Stay healthy.
If he can stay healthy,
if his knees cannot explode, quite literally explode.
He is one of the most exciting people. I remember watching him at UT.
I remember you texted me when we drafted him, and you were like, "Dude, that's a guy." Yeah,
he's a guy. And I looked back at my text to my brother a couple of years ago, and I had said, if we draft one guy in this draft, he's targeted for 3rd or 4th round. I hope we get Overshown. And whenever he's on the field, I'm just so happy with what he's doing. I think he just brings a lot of energy. And so,
Marcus, he's everything that we wish Devin Lloyd was. He's fast, he's strong, he has ball skills, he can cover, he can tackle.
Wow.
Like, he's an animal. I mean, like, watching him and Micah play together was like, holy shit! Like, these are and then his knees exploded. But
yeah, that's so unfortunate, man.
Yeah, Bland got paid.
I think that's big. I think it shows what we're trying to invest in. So you have 2 corners on the outside with Bland and Diggs, and I know there's some draw digs. I've actually respected how he's treated the offseason. Some people are like, oh, you got to train with the facility. He got healthy, didn't even have to go on the pup. Hey,
Yeah.
if he's out there and he's playing tough, that's all I care about. I just don't want to see him. I have a joke with my brother and a couple of our friends, like he just doesn't tackle super well at times. And I think it's hard because, coming off knee injuries, you can kind of be a little soft. And
Right.
I see that sometimes with him. But man, if you get, I think it's 2022 Diggs, if you
Yeah.
get that Diggs and 2023 Bland leading the league in interceptions, I mean,
Oh my God.
it's going to be a nightmare for opposing teams to face. And then we went and got Ravel Jr. in the third.
Oh yeah.
I know he's another. We just love guys with
Bit of a
broken knees
Yeah, I
coming
know.
to
Yeah, I
the
was gonna say
Cowboys.
he only had
But
injury worries. Yeah.
yeah, but he was a former first round grade
Yeah.
corner, and so you're investing in guys that fell in the draft for value outside of Booker. But I think that's we've built the defense a little bit there. We're a little bit younger. We don't have the star power Micah Parsons name
Yeah.
anymore, but I think we've rebuilt a little bit, and I think we'll be middle of the road, but I think there's some upside if we can stay mostly healthy this year that I don't think a lot of people expect.
Yeah. It was Kenny Clark. I mean, Solomon Thomas, Kenny Clark, Osa Odigizua, like that's a pretty, in theory, solid rotation of interior guys. Kenneth Murray's a linebacker. He was a first-round pick back in the day. Some solid defensive ends. It's, much like the Jaguars, it all boils down to how does Trevor Lawrence do? If Dak is playing out of his mind this season with CD, George, and Ferguson, I mean, that's where the bread's gonna be made right there.
Absolutely.
Is Dak.
Oh yeah.
Is he gonna choke? What do you guys think? I mean, come on. Like, I know nothing about any of this. First
Go ahead.
of all, Chase, if you're not in the Cowboys locker room by next season, I'm writing a letter.
Right.
And then the only thing that I know about the Cowboys is that he changed his like under center routine or whatever, and he goes like, "Okay, here we go." And honestly,
They
I
cut
love
that.
that. They
Yeah.
don't do that anymore.
No, I don't think Schottenheimer's doing it anymore.
Apparently,
I really like that.
Yeah.
I loved it, dude. It was so funny
Because it gets
but
everyone locked in. Like the guys are on the line, and like that's your pre-snap. Like they already know what the snap's
funny,
going
yeah.
on, but like everybody's lined up, and he's like, "Okay, here we go." Now you're listening for the cues. Like now everybody's fired up and they're locked in. Whereas normally, like it's just a quarterback under center, and he's just like,
Green egg,
Omaha,
yeah, Omaha,
Green.
yeah, dude, I liked it.
I like
But
I
go
like
ahead.
I like unique. I always
Yeah.
loved it.
Tell
Yeah.
me something about that. I need that.
Yeah, I think he started it, yeah, like you said, to kind of get people locked in, ready to play. But I think they're trying to shift away from it because defenses were somewhat able to key in on our timing a little bit. And so, they're changing it up. I liked it. It's just something cool to do. And, Dak is going to face you're the Cowboys quarterback. Romo faced the same thing. They're going to face a lot of media pressure always, always. And I think he does a tremendous job at handling it, interviews and discussions and everything. And I think, yeah, it's kind of what Ethan said. We're going to need that all-pro caliber season, that 2023 Dak. If you get that guy, and you get that guy going into the playoffs, and we hopefully don't face Green Bay
Right.
or San Francisco.
nemesis, yeah.
I'll take out those two teams. We just don't want to face them.
Yeah.
It seems like there's hope. But again, it's disappointment after disappointment come January. We've just struggled. And some of it is Dak's fault starting slow in playoff games. Some of it is our defense what I saw against Green Bay, that was the worst defensive performance I might have ever seen watching professional football.
They had nothing for him. I mean, it's
like,
just a bad day at the office.
Well, from an outsider's perspective, fellas, like I've seen year in and year out Cowboys regular season, they look like a deep playoff Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
Come playoffs, in my opinion, it looks like Dak Prescott is just throwing kind of. So like, I'm sure that you guys are happy with Dak Prescott having another season, but I mean, is it almost time to let him go?
I don't think Jerry would do it. I'll real quick. I mean, Jerry. There's one thing about Jerry is he loves finding guys. Like, so he found Dak in the 5th round.
Yeah.
That's his guy. He took a chance on Jalen Smith, so he pays Jalen Smith the linebacker. Like, he loves grabbing his guys. He found Deron Bland in the 5th round. Like,
Sure.
so I think
Dak loves being a Cowboy. Jerry is all in on that. Jerry's like, you're gonna wear that star with pride. Here's $60 million a year. Like, I don't think Jerry will get rid of him
So
Yeah,
does that help you?
until he's like, done.
Not,
Like Romo was
yeah.
done. But yeah, like
It doesn't help you though. That doesn't serve you as a Cowboys fan.
could get a whole lot worse than Dak, but it's just the playoffs that scar him.
Yep. I think it's interesting because, we're at a point, and it happens every time as, Dak has his new extension or he's in the franchise tag era, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
why is he the most expensive, or why are we not signing him? And there's always drama around it. When I would say is, you know, when Dak is locked in and he's in rhythm, there's very few players in the league that are better than him in that mode. It's whether you get him in that mode, and when we need him in the divisional round to have that. He played when
Sure.
he took Brady out of the NFL his last game.
Yeah.
That was lights out Dak. And I know, as a Bucks team that was, decent for a playoffs, but I mean, he was incredible. And you see those glimpses sometimes in big games, sometimes not. But what you said, Ethan, about him being like, you can do a lot worse, and I think that's true. Back in 2020, I believe, when he had the crazy foot injury, people are like, Cowboys should tank for Trevor Lawrence and for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And I was like, at that point, Trevor Lawrence was highly touted, and you're like, okay, yeah, if we get the one, we'll take Trevor Lawrence. But you genuinely cannot be sure, because I think if, you fast forward 4 or 5 years, would people take Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence over Dak? I don't know if that's true.
I don't
think
think
so.
I'd take Dak.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you look at that, and there's just no guarantee. Yeah, obviously you could have a Joe Burrow come up, and you're like, well, yeah, I would take Joe Burrow. But it's so hard to hit on these guys in drafts. And so while I don't think we should move off of Dak here this year, I think us accumulating those 2 firsts in each of the next 2 drafts, I think the opportunity now presents itself that if we have the chance to, and there's plenty of good quarterbacks coming up. I actually am obviously love Arch, but I think he has work to do. I think Sam Levitt for Arizona State, what I've seen from the kid, he's pretty excellent. Lenore Sellers for South Carolina. There's some really
he had
good
a highlight
guys
yesterday.
coming.
That Sellers guy from South Carolina,
Yeah.
broke 2 tackles,
Yeah.
trucked a guy to score the touchdown, and then
Yeah.
he'll throw a 30-yard bomb right to the guy's hands. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some guys
that.
coming up, and I think we've set ourselves now where, we have the ammunition to go and get one of those. And, hey, maybe Dak figures it out and we make the jump. Fantastic. And that's great. If for whatever reason we don't, we now have the opportunity in one of the next 2 drafts to take his replacement. I mean, he's getting into his, early mid-30s now. I think that's where the window is starting to, appear that, okay, see if he can figure it out. We got him some good weapons with Pickens, CD, Berg. I think you give him a couple years. If it's it, great. If not working out, okay, cool. We'll take the next guy and, maybe send Dak to, a quarterback needy team. There's plenty of teams that could use Dak as their quarterback, even in his mid-30s, that there'll be a market for him. And I think we get some value out of it.
I'm known for outlandish takes. Okay. So
Okay.
hear me
Okay.
out. There's quarterback problems across the NFL like crazy, right? And so you have a quarterback problem, but you got a guy up in there that's starting, someone who's had experience, someone who's got reps. Like, why not just go ahead and take your first round pick and grab that next best quarterback and say, here you go, sit on the bench, sit behind this guy for a year or 2 years, and like just get primed. Like, if you prime a kid up and get him like reps in the preseason, maybe throw him in if your starting quarterback gets hurt, but like he's there and he's getting prepared. So it's like when his time comes, he's feeling confident, in a groove. He understands the assignments. He knows the locker room. Like, he's ready to take on that captainship role. But the biggest problem is, if you guys lose Dak, next thing you know, you're drafting a quarterback out of the draft straight out of college. That kid has literally everything to prove, and that's exactly what just happened to Arch Manning. So it's like, I almost think that you lose that, that safety in 1 or that wide receiver at 1 or in the first round, but it might be worth it,
I would love that. My thing though is I go, So who have the quarterbacks been? Tony Romo was undrafted and was sitting behind Drew Bledsoe. That's how he got his chance. Dak Prescott was he's still sitting here in the 5th round. Let's go ahead and take him. Sat behind Romo, then he got his chance. I don't think Jerry's going to draft a first-round quarterback unless it's some big name that's like
That's a great
undeniable.
point.
I think Jerry's going to be. I think he's down for that, but it's going to be a 6th-round pick or an undrafted guy.
That's a great point. Like, I don't even
Like-
care who it is, 2nd round, 3rd round, but just like have like a preconceived plan where you're like, this is who I think our guy could be going forward.
Is
Let's
that Joe
put him in
Milton?
put him
I
back
feel like
up.
That's part of the idea of probably them trading a 6th-round pick for Joe Milton. The problem is he throws 100-mile-an-hour fastballs for checkdowns, and
It's kind of sick.
they liked that. I mean, he's a big dude. Yeah, dude, he's
I kind of
sick.
like that.
Yeah, when he throws live, he had a touchdown in the preseason. Oh, it's unbelievable how far he can throw the football. Like
That's
from the
kinda
20
nice.
to the other 20. It's
He's got a
amazing.
cannon.
And I feel like that might have been part of it, but I mean, I just don't think that's
We did
Jerry's
the same
style.
thing with Trey Lance. We did
Yeah.
the same thing with Trey Lance, though, and
Again,
I
guys
think
who
it's
their
a
teams
lot
have
of it's the
rejected, and
timing.
Jerry goes, "Here, I got you. Let me take care of
Yeah.
you."
We're big for the most part. We're big value people. From the one like dropping people or one side grabbing people that dropped in value that we think are talented or that we used to like. We did that with Mingo, and I don't. It's tough to give away
Yeah,
draft picks, but
yeah.
hey, maybe he'll develop. But from a value standpoint, and then also on the other side, we haven't talked about Booker. I was not necessarily looking guard at that pick, and I also thought there was a world where Booker could be available at the 2nd round slot that we had.
Yeah.
But then I watched some of his Alabama tape. He was a captain there. He was, just a strong leader. He's a presence inside, big dude. And I think we've invested in our O-line a lot here. We
Yep.
have now, I believe we probably have the youngest O-line in the league. I'd be shocked if there's another team that has a
That's kinda
younger
sweet.
O-line.
I like
yeah.
that.
And so
Yeah.
we're doing kind of what we did. We're resetting the clock back
Yep.
to like the 2010 to 2012 range, where then, in a couple years, you have, if it's Dak, hopefully prime Dak. If we find, a new quarterback that's going to fill in the draft, all right, you have a young, like super high talented guy. You still have CD. If Pickens is the guy, great, cool. You have some weapons. You have a young team. Let's see what we can do. And I think that's why we went for Booker. I still think we probably could have used some help at running back, and maybe traded back, grab some value.
Exactly.
But they just seemed like they really loved Booker at that spot, and they weren't going to take any risk of trading down. And so, hey, if you get your guy, that's great. You just got to hope that the O-line is really strong again and is continuing to ascend.
Did you also, when the commissioner said Tyler, think he was about to say Tyler Warren, Penn State tight end?
I didn't, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I sat there going, "We got him. Oh, we got the other one.
No,
Okay, no,
we
that's
got the
fine." Yeah.
I think Warren's going to be incredible for the Colts. He's a very, very talented dude.
Marcus, you love Warren. You watch those Penn State
Yeah.
games.
He's old. He's a bit
He's old,
older.
but
I think
good.
there, and I don't mean to cut you off, but there might be like a little bit of misconception behind his actual talent, behind like he's 27 playing with like a bunch of 21-year-old kids, So he is older. I don't know if he's actually 27. Look it up really quick.
He's 23, I think.
Is he really 23?
That's old for a rookie, though.
Yeah, right. So
yeah, it is. He's an old rookie.
yeah. And so I don't know if he was just more developed, bigger, stronger,
Right.
faster, than some of
NFL
these kids that he was.
bodies.
Yeah, I mean he's made to be like a 2nd-year NFL kind of tight end, or at the point that he's at now. So we'll see.
Yeah. I like the Tyler Booker pick because Zach Martin retiring, Jerry just went, let me not overthink it. It was kind of a rare occasion for him to go, let me not go crazy here. Let me just backfill my Hall of Fame guard with another guy who it all works out. I mean, you've got your guard for the next 10 years,
Sure.
which nobody would look back and go, that was a bad 1st-round pick. They should have taken Tyler Warren. No, did you see his baldy breakdowns on Tyler, geez, I'm forgetting his name. Tyler Booker, dude. Set the anchor, run blocking, everything, team captain at Alabama. And I think that was Saban, Alabama. He was a team captain too.
Yep.
I could be
Saban,
wrong,
Alabama.
And so character's not a question. Big guy. I didn't mind it at all. in theory, savvy GM would maybe trade back knowing that Tyler Booker's going to be there a few picks later, but that's okay, it's all right. Like,
Yeah, I definitely wished for that scenario because I thought he would, but it is what it is. We'll take him. I thought we did pretty well in the draft. I was interested in that we did not prioritize running back. I know Jaden Blue is a UT guy, and I kind of laugh at the pick sometimes because he's a polarizing guy. He had a fumble issue last year, but man, if you get this dude in space, he just shakes the boots out of defenders, and he was a pretty incredible receiving back actually, and I think that was probably a little underrated like for his talent, but I'm really interested to see how he pans out in the league because he is an explosive player. If he can take care of the ball, I think he might be a little bit of a surprise. I don't know if he'll be Tony Pollard-esque, that
right.
type of speed elusive back, but I think he has some talent in him to maybe contribute a few big plays.
Javonte Williams, solid.
Does Travis Hunter tackle him in open space?
Probably not.
I think he might get by Travis Hunter.
Wow. then well, we wasted our pick.
Dude, man. Well,
he's a receiver now, apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
I was tripping up on Tyler Booker's name because there's 3 guys on the starting offensive line named Tyler. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah. We love Tylers for our offensive line.
On the O-line. Travis Hunter would have been a dream Cowboy. That would have been Jerry Jones' dream right there.
Yeah, that would have been. You would look good in your colors too. Would look good in that.
Smile. Oh my God, Travis Hunter to the Cowboys.
And it's almost like the Cowboys, man. The Cowboys are like, that's like the celebrity team of the NFL. It's the dream team. I mean, all the way down to the cheerleaders. Like, you guys have the highest paid cheerleaders in the NFL. Every cheerleader probably wants to be a Cowboys cheerleader because of the the fame and the reputation with it. So it's like he would have been absolutely fantastic in Dallas. 100%.
Travis Hunter would have been amazing. And that's Jerry's thing, is that when you go watch the documentary, which everyone's got to watch, The Gambler and His Cowboys, it is amazing. You realize he was like, the Cowboys were operating in the red. They were losing money. So he was like, how do I get some money going? Get the cheerleaders. So he was like, I need to make this a national brand. It can't just, I owe you more than running and passing and tackling. Like, I've got to do more than that. And that's how the cheerleaders got their mystique. And like, the cheerleaders, they're very well paid. They just got a 400% raise because they got a Netflix documentary or a Netflix show. And so they were making like 60 grand a year before that, which isn't bad. But like, I bet you he was just like, well, it should be 50 more, but I'm going to call that you get to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Like, that's part of his thing, is like, but you get to be a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah, he certainly did a good job of creating the brand.
And agents don't want to hear, but you get to be a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah.
So that's why negotiations break down.
Yeah. I mean, but dude, imagine playing like Monday Night Football in that stadium.
It's electric. I mean,
that
it's like
stadium
nothing
is
else,
so sick. That dome is so awesome.
The cheerleaders, when they do the entrances, it's Thunderstruck by AC/DC
going.
They're doing the leg kicking. I mean, it's just amazing.
And it's sold out, right?
Oh,
always. It's always sold out.
Standing room is sold out. Like, it's amazing.
How much is a hot dog?
Not that bad, actually.
Really?
The prices were not bad. Yeah, you would be surprised.
All
right, well, just comparatively.
Give me a rough estimate. I want to grab
Jaguars
a beer
are more
and a hot
expensive.
dog.
Jaguars are more expensive. I think a beer and a hot dog would run you about like $30, $32.
Jesus Christ!
But at Jags game, the beers are $22. Like,
yeah, it's bad.
Insane.
22 for
a beer? For like a tall boy, one of the tall ones. You get a tall one.
But then it's warm when you're halfway done with it.
Yeah, it's bad. We have a bad situation over there in the tank.
We constantly rank in like the bottom 5 of people's stadium rankings when it's like, I visited every NFL stadium. The worst was the Jaguars. Is how it always goes. But,
we're working on it, I guess.
We're working on it. We are renovating. But yeah, man. Really quick, the Brian Schottenheimer hiring. it was just like I thought it was kind of weird. I was like,
Who's that?
oh, he was the offensive coordinator. Exactly, he was the offensive coordinator under Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy and
Okay.
Jerry couldn't agree on a new contract for Mike to come back. So Jerry wanted Mike McCarthy back. They just
Oh.
couldn't agree on a contract. And so he hired the offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, who nobody else was going to offer him a head coaching job. I don't know how many people would have offered him an offensive coordinating job. It just felt weird to me. And the gambler Jerry would have never hired Brian Schottenheimer. I don't know what was up with that.
It was definitely interesting. And, when I first saw it, I really couldn't believe it. It just didn't seem like a Jerry Jones hire. I thought we'd be going for a bigger name. But
Of
then you also
Vrabel,
think back, you're like,
yeah.
yeah, Abel was an excellent hire from the Patriots. I think they actually might be pretty good this year. Or better, they'll at least be more competitive than they have been the last couple of years. Anyways, it was interesting. I do think I've been more favorable of what I've seen from Schottenheimer than I would have originally expecting. I think what the Cowboys really need as a coach is they need someone that is a culture guy and is also an energy guy. And I know, we'll hear about the whole Cowboys brand and, we're a content company that does football. You hear those type of statements about the
Jeez.
Cowboys, but
Roasted.
I think we need a guy that gets us fired up for big games. And, I don't want us to come out flat in the playoffs. And so if Schottenheimer's gonna, hold a standard of discipline, which I've seen him do on a few, occasions in camp, that's what I love to see. I like the way he interacts with our players. I like the way that he interviews. I think he's doing his best, and I think he's going to try his ass off to do, the best job possible. Whether that's a success or not, we'll see. I think Thursday's going to be quite telling if, we come
I
out
cannot
flat
wait,
and get,
man. Oh my
rolled
Looking
by the
forward
Eagles
to
on
it.
Thursday.
Looking forward to it.
This is gonna be a good one,
We'll
dude.
yeah,
I
if we get
mean,
rolled
that's a
on
great
Thursday.
matchup for the first game of the season. It
Oh, yeah.
really is.
And I that's one of my favorite things about being a Cowboys fan, by the way, is how many people just go, "We've got to watch the fucking Cowboys week 1," like blah blah blah. And I'm like,
Oh,
"Oh
I'm
yeah,
down.
you do. Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
do." And guess what? Cowboys win or lose, guess what the story on ESPN after that game is gonna be? The Dallas Cowboys. And you all just I'm gonna drink
I
your
think
tears.
I think every single time I'm, around a TV and watching ESPN, I swear there's a Cowboys thing, and they were even doing it last year. I mean, Dak was out for the season, and they're still talking
They were
about
leading the
Prescott.
show.
I'm like, hey, guys, you have Saquon like hurdling people in reverse, and you're
Hey.
talking about Dak Prescott, man.
Man,
Like,
that was against
what are we
us.
talking? Sorry,
It's a great corner, by the way. Jerry,
Oh.
he was just trying to make the tackle.
That was one of the craziest, most athletic things I've ever seen. And so you have these storylines, and I'm like, that just tells you how good of a brand that Jerry has built. Is they're always going to talk
You're gonna lead
Cowboys.
the,
I
you're gonna
just
lead the
pray
show
that
with them. Yeah.
I just pray that we finally get over the hump. And again, I would love more than anything for it to be Dak. I've been a huge fan of him since he came to the league, and I was a massive Romo's fan. I'm always going to support my quarterbacks. But from Romo to Dak, I mean, it's been a similar story. When they're lights out, they can be really special to watch, but they just haven't been able to get over that divisional round game. And I really hope Dak can be, the guy for us. And we'll see if that's this year, next year, or if, maybe we go on to a new person and, maybe it's not, in the cards for Dak with us. But still
Another thing with
excited nonetheless.
another thing with the Micah trade is I think Jerry also looked around the division and went, the Eagles roster is just, I mean, that's the best roster. It's unbelievable. The best O-line and the best D-line and the A.J. Brown. I mean, it's just insane. They hit on Quinyon. Somehow we let Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean fall to them. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, he auto drafts and it works. And it's just insane. And
Howie's a really sharp GM. I will say
unbelievable.
I'm quite jealous. He's very sharp.
And then I got a funny story really quick. Their tight end, Dallas Goedert. So way back in the day, Cowboys were about to be up to draft. This is Jason Witten is getting ready to retire. And so this tight end named Dallas is sitting there about to fall to the Dallas Cowboys. The Eagles traded up one spot in front of them, traded with the Seahawks one spot in front of them, and the Eagles drafted Dallas Goedert. we're family friends with a guy who was on the coaching staff on the Eagles at that time. He texted my dad and he goes, "You think we were gonna let the sweet tight end named Dallas fall to you guys?" And he's texting him back going, "You motherfucker." So when
That's
you're watching
cool.
Dallas Goedert tear us up on Thursday night, just keep that in the back of your mind.
Just
And then I mean, tough. Jaden Daniels is a hit. And then now you're looking at the New York Giants, who got Abdul Carter, whose nickname is Darth Vader. I mean, are you kidding me? And then that D line, Jackson Dart, in the preseason at least, they might have gotten a hit themselves. Jerry knows I need more than a pass rusher. I mean, if I'm going to be competitive here for the next few years, that's a tough position.
And I think strategically too, Green Bay's good. I think Jordan Love's a pretty great quarterback. I don't think he's exceptional, but I think he can
He's a little inconsistent.
bring a team. Yeah, he can bring a team. There's I think it's the Toyota-thon. He's like the best quarterback in NFL history.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, he's like just very mid.
Right.
But it's, he can still, he can lead a team. I think they have, I think Jacobs is great. I think they have a good defense now. They took McKinney from the Giants. They took Parsons from us. They have a good defense, but their receiving core is young, and right now it's pretty, battered. And so if they have any trouble with injuries this year or next year, they're in a really tough division. I mean, yes, the Vikings are shifting from Darnold to McCarthy. I think McCarthy has the chops to at least be competent in that offense. I think O'Connell just makes every quarterback better. The Lions were 15-2 last year.
We're big Dan Campbell guys.
Yeah,
big
the
Dan
Lions
Campbell
are incredible. The Bears, I know they're just a constant meme, but I mean, Caleb Williams has every weapon in the world to succeed.
They will be better.
They should be better. That's not an easy division. And so if the Packers, run into any sort of trouble with that division, you're looking at maybe a pick that gets into the teens. It's most likely going to be in the 20s if they perform as they should. If there's any trouble with, injuries or anything for the Packers, I mean, we could be getting a pretty nice pick in one of the next two drafts. And, hey, maybe if the Cowboys struggle too, you get two top 16 picks, you're set. You can really set up your team with a top player on each side of the ball. And, we're already pretty young as it is. So, there's definitely an opportunity. But, it's sad to see Micah go. Electric player, takes a lot of attention. But, if that's just, it wasn't meant to be here in Dallas, I do wish him the best. Not too much best because we play him week 4 and I want to beat him. But I do wish him the best and thank him for what he did for Dallas.
Wow.
It was tough for me because I've always had a soft spot for Green Bay, not the team, but like the fans, the history and everything. I've always had a soft spot. I like Aaron Rodgers, but now, I mean, Chase, I told you this. I've got to actively root against them in a ugly, toxic sports fan way, like rooting for injuries. Like I want ACLs torn. Like I mean, it sucks. Like I need that draft pick,
man.
I need that draft pick. I'm sorry. Like you can get ACL surgery. You'll be fine. I need that draft pick.
So my last question for the ACL tear is kind of heartless. Maybe
right.
like
hamstring.
Yeah, hammy. Okay, that's fine.
Hamstrings.
That's fine.
All right.
For you guys, I know, Cam Ward's joining the division. You have Texans. You have now Daniel Jones. Like, how are you guys feeling? Do you hate? Is there one of those teams you just hate? Well, like far more than the rest, or are they all just like, they're kind of mid. I think we can beat them.
I hate the Texans and the Titans. The Colts are pretty inoffensive to me because I like Peyton Manning, so I've always had a soft spot for the Colts as well. Not unless they're playing Gus, obviously.
Yeah,
but you go, Marcus. I mean,
I mean, they're all like on par with us, I would say. So I would say I ultimately hate the Texans the most, just because that's kind of who we would have to compete with to try to win the division. Yeah. But I mean, it boils down to like, are we going to be good or not? Because if we're not good, it really doesn't matter. I mean, we're not like one of those teams that can have like a regular season and like make the playoffs, like slip through. It's either we're really, really sick and we're playing very well, or it's not happening. So I try not to even think about like which one of those teams we would fare up with, because the way that I see it, it's the Texans or it's nothing,
Right.
So
yeah,
that's how I view it.
but this is how crazy it is. If the Cowboys all of a sudden were in our division, would they not be like favorites to win the division? I mean, our
Every
division
single
is
time. We would
so
never.
let's call it
Yeah.
competitive. It's
Yeah.
it's a really competitive division, and
Yeah.
Same thing with Cowboys. Brian Schottenheimer, new coach. I know how D'Amico responds to adversity. D'Amico's got them fired up. They're playing well at the end of the season.
Yeah.
People go like they had a down year last year. They won a playoff game. That's pretty good down year. Colts, if we're in the league of Daniel Jones and the Colts, I mean that's embarrassing. They've got a good roster, but I mean it's if Daniel Jones is who our competition is, then it's like, okay, things aren't going well.
You should take care of him.
Rookie Cam Ward, have no idea. I have no idea.
No clue.
They talk about another unfair comparison. They go like his ceiling is Patrick Mahomes. And I'm like the 3-time Super Bowl champion. Like
that's so bizarre.
Pump the brakes, everybody.
Yeah. That's so bizarre.
I do think I've been a big Cam Ward fan. Just in the last year, I followed Miami pretty closely, and I think there's some. Yeah, you can see there's a little Mahomey plays that you can see from him, and it's pretty special. He has the incredible pocket presence. He has some of the most just beautiful throws that he can make, but you also have some extremely questionable decision making at times, and so I think that's what's going to have to be, tamed down a little bit when he plays in the NFL, because he's not going to be able to get away with as much. But I think he'll be pretty good. I think he might need a year, but he's all-time college football touchdown leader, even if it was Incarnate Ward in a couple other places and Washington State, Miami. But I think it'll be good. Interesting thing for me is the Jags, because you have T-Law, you've got him some guys at RB. Now he's
got a solid running back for him. Yeah.
Yeah. He has Tuden, Bigsby, and Etienne, and people now think Etienne's bad after one down year, and he was pretty great just 2 years ago.
He keeps getting put in the starting slot, so he's doing something right. I don't know what it is, but he's doing something.
You got Brian Thomas.
We overhauled the O-line.
Travis, Brendan Strange. Is there still an O-line issue? Is that what's going to hold y'all back?
So they're all new guys. It's all new guys. They overhauled it. We hit on 2 rookies, which was lucky. A 7th-round pick and a 4th-round pick, I think, that made the team. So we hit on a couple interior guys. The O-line is going to be the question, like with most teams. I'd say the pass rush is that's where we really need it, because we've talked about it's Daniel Jones and then young quarterbacks. We have to get in their face. And we've invested draft capital and money into that D-line. And like Marcus, you play D-line. You cannot quarterback at a competent level when guys are in your face. It changes everything.
Yeah, well, first, I want to tell Chase a little story here, Ethan. I want to tell Chase a story. It was week 1 of the preseason. We're all fired up. Jags make big moves. The ones are going against the 2s on the other team, if I remember properly, and it's just we're locked in. We're ready to see this kind of new offense, new defense.
Trevor Lawrence, here we go.
And first play, you're at the edge of your seat, and the offensive tackle jumps off sides, and it's like right when you think that there's progress, someone's not locked in. Not only that, but week 3 preseason, offensive line, it's like the first or second play of the game. It's the 2s versus the 1s out in Miami, and you want to get a look on what your backups really look like, jumps offside. And it's like, shoot me in my foot.
It's all right here, maybe. It's all up here.
I would rather watch the Jags offensive line lose going 110% than watch them lose making stupid-ass mistakes. They cannot be the best. I don't care. If we win 7 games and those 7 games are well-executed, hard-fought battles that ended up in losses, progress.
Yeah.
But if we're jumping offside, so that's where the question comes from as far as our offensive line. Is like, are they actually football guys? Are they locker room guys? Or are they just big bodies that we picked up to put in a hole? As far as the defensive line goes, I absolutely agree with you, Ethan. If you get hands in a quarterback's face when they're trying to make a high level decision, when they gotta hit this guy on a 10 and out route, and when it's third and 8, and you've got a guy with big hands running at you, I mean, that's what changes the game. It's not the sacks always. Obviously, a sack is going to make a big difference, but it's that mentality of knowing okay, I watched film and I'm a little bit nervous about him faring up against my right tackle who has my
Yeah.
back. You know, that's
Yeah.
in the back of my mind. Whereas we've been so undominating up front these past couple years where it's just
Yeah.
these quarterbacks are comfortable. And so
Yep.
that's the biggest concern for me going into playing, these quarterbacks in our division is, are they going to be scared? Are they going to be nervous when they're getting ready to throw the ball or when they're coming out on first down? Like, or are they just, nah, my guy's got it. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. What one thing. So that false start by the right tackle to start the preseason.
Yeah.
Coach in the press conference, he goes, "Yeah, Trevor was taking a long time to get the play call through, though." And I go, "Okay, wait. So I would have forgiven nerves. Got it.
Sure.
First game of the season, knew
I wouldn't
everything.
have, but
Everything's
yeah.
new. Home. I'm like, I'm a human being. Got it. I'll just forget that happened. So, but now you're telling me we're jumpy and the quarterback can't get plays in on time. So now we've got double whammy. And then just to give you an idea of the defense can't get much worse than what it was last year. So what happened is our third defensive end, our third pass rusher was Eric Armstead. Isn't he a defensive tackle? Isn't he a 3-tech?
Yeah, he
So
should be.
they put him on the outside for no reason. And then our defensive coordinator, his big thing was he wanted to bulk everybody up. He wanted big, fill in the holes type of guys. So he had everybody gain like 15 pounds, and now they're all slow. So they've all lost their weight. We have depth at defensive end now. Agba, Smoot. We got a couple draft picks. So now we have some depth at guys who are playing the position they're supposed to play. So you like to feel a little bit better about that. Travis Hunter, I keep forgetting he's on the team. Travis Hunter, when he plays corner, he missed an open field tackle, that's not why you drafted him, by the way. You drafted him to, other than that,
He'll make plays.
didn't have the ball thrown his way. Lockdown.
Yeah,
He
it
was
was
running guys'
lockdown.
routes with them. So defense can't get much worse, but much like the Cowboys, it all goes right back to O-line and Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You mentioned the Lions. We love Dan Campbell. We love
Oh,
Mike
yeah.
Tomlin. Guys who will, you lost the game, but the guys were still ready to like punch a wall through a brick, what a hole through a brick wall, all that. So you hire the play calling head coaches, Brian Schottenheimer. I mean, he's an offensive coordinator. I don't get rah-rah Dan Campbell vibes from Brian Schottenheimer. I don't get that from Liam Cohen. So when we talk about culture guy versus that play caller guy, I kind of like those culture guys because when we're 2-4, hey guys, so my game plan this week. I mean, like the players aren't going to respect it as much.
Yep.
But Dan Campbell and Mike T are going to get the room's respect. That's where I need to see it out of Schottenheimer and out of Liam Cohen. This Eagles matchup for the Cowboys terrifies me. I mean, if I told you it was 35-12 Eagles, I mean, I would believe that. I'd go, yeah, that probably happened.
It would make me quite sad, but I could believe it too.
It's a tough matchup. And so Booker, welcome to the NFL. Here's Jalen Carter. And it's just a rough go at.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
It's going to be a good one, dude.
I'm really looking forward to it.
We should do a quick score prediction. No, because it won't be good. It's not going to go well. Hey, but Deron Bland, I don't think Trayvon Diggs is going to play, but you got Bland out there on corner, and then you got some young guys that can cover. It's just, can these new defensive ends? Hi, you've been promoted. Micah's gone, and then
dude,
tough.
I don't think that there's a single team in existence that could have beat the Eagles on Super Bowl Sunday last year.
No, they were going to smoke whoever.
I don't think any team that's ever been put together could have beat that team on that day. So I mean, if they're anything like that, I mean, at least you'll get a good look. But it just depends on how good they are this season, man.
Yeah, they did lose some players on defense, and that's what, like you said earlier, of course they got Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean to fall to
and then
them
of course
last year.
Jihad Campbell fell to them. I mean,
Yeah,
just of course.
They just continue to get lucky there, but they have lost some guys, and so, I think to beat them, we're not gonna, if it's a low scoring game, I think the Eagles are gonna, if we're not able to get anything going
Control
on,
that,
we're gonna
yeah.
get we're gonna get smoked. But
For sure.
I do think if we can get an early score and get the confidence rolling, I think that's about our only hope, and we're probably gonna have to put up over 30 because I mean,
Definitely.
with what I saw from them, I mean, Saquon is an automatic house call, like at least once or twice a game, it seems like. And then Jalen Hurts in the red zone is about as automatic as it had come, at least in the last couple of years. And so it's gonna be really tough. And I know AJ Brown, Goddard, Devonta Smith, they have everything they could need, and they're returning, they're returning a Super Bowl champs. So we have a lot that we're gonna have to prove. And I think even coming out of the game, we lose by
Fine.
7 in Philly. Good start. Good start.
Can't be
Yeah,
mad at that.
it's fine.
Next
Fine.
one. Yeah.
Let's go to next week. Let's see what we can do win against the Bears. Hopefully, we can beat the Bears.
Lose 100%. If you're gonna
lose going
110%.
110%.
Yep.
Lose with Tyler Booker stonewalling Jalen Carter to 1 total QB pressure. I mean, like little things like that are where we got to find our silver linings in this game.
They don't teach Warriors to just kind of stop when they're feeling down.
Exactly.
Oh no, that didn't go my way.
Yeah.
Oh, let me just stop right here. I need a snack. Like, that's not how it works. You're
And
losing
players-
by 30 points. Don't care.
Yeah, and the players talk about Schottenheimer's a really good culture guy. I'm like, okay, so when we're down 17 at half, how's that culture guy going to go then? Because, again, Dan Campbell and Mike T are going to have you still ready to run through a wall.
Yeah.
And that's where I need to see it. So it's going to be fascinating. It's going to be so telling. Dude, I can't wait. I'm
wait.
so jacked up.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
can't
God.
wait to watch. It's going to be so awesome.
3 more days.
I love it, dude. That was so fun. Ace, thank you. We'll do more Cowboys. That was awesome. So
yeah,
bro.
thanks for coming on, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the sidelines.
Dude, yeah, hell yeah. I'll wait for your letter to the team to get me on there.
Yeah,
See
we'll
if
get
I'll make
you
it
on.
next Netflix series and then coach for the next couple of years.
Yeah, dude, I love it. That was sick. All right, appreciate it, man.
All right, man.
Thanks,
Thanks.
y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Peace
See you
out.
guys.
Peace out.